Have you ever waited for someone and kept checking the clock? You think, surely 10 minutes have passed, only to discover it's been barely 2. The strange thing is, the clock didn't break, and the minute didn't actually become longer. But your experience of time changed dramatically. So why does time feel like it's standing still when you're bored? First, there's an important distinction. There's the time measured by a clock, and there's the time you actually experience. A clock says 10 minutes are 10 minutes, whether you're happy, bored, stressed, or completely absorbed. But your brain doesn't always give those 10 minutes the same feeling. When you're busy with something you enjoy, your attention goes into the activity itself. But when you're bored, there may be much less competing for your attention. That's when you start noticing things you normally ignore. The air conditioner, the clock hands, how long until work ends, even every minute passing. And this is where a strange loop can begin. You watch the clock because you're bored, but watching the clock makes you more aware of time passing. So you think, is it over? Nope. Now? Nope. And every time you check again, the waiting can feel even more noticeable. Now, let's flip the situation. Imagine playing a difficult game, watching an amazing movie, or having a great conversation with someone close to you. Suddenly, you check the clock and think, seriously? 2 hours already? Now the experience is almost the exact opposite. The clock didn't speed up. Your attention was simply somewhere else. When you're focused on a game, solving a problem, or laughing with friends, your brain has plenty of information and events to process. It doesn't need to keep asking, how much time has passed? And there's an important point here. Boredom doesn't necessarily mean you have absolutely nothing to do. Sometimes you have a phone, a TV, games, and everything around you, yet you still feel bored. The issue isn't simply whether an activity exists, but whether it actually captures your attention. Waiting combines several things at once. You want an outcome, but you can't make it happen faster, and you may not have anything engaging enough to occupy you until it arrives. So whenever there's a gap, your attention returns to time. How long is left? Is it almost over? Why isn't it finished? Now, imagine sitting for 1 full minute with no phone, no movie, no conversation, and nothing to occupy you. Before long, you'll start noticing the minute itself. But spend that same minute solving a puzzle or watching something interesting, and it may end before you even notice it. But there's an important catch. Not every experience of slow time is caused by boredom. Stress, fear, waiting, and strong emotions can also change how long a moment feels. Our perception of time is much more complicated than simply, I'm bored, so time is slow. And here's another strange part. Your judgment of time can change after an experience ends. While sitting through a boring lecture, the minutes may feel painfully slow, but hours later, you might think, that went by quickly. The way we experience time isn't necessarily the same as the way we remember it. Now, take a day packed with new experiences, a trip, a new place, new people, different activities. During the day, it may feel fast because you're engaged and having fun, but when you remember it later, you might think, wow, it feels like I lived a whole week because your memory has so many events to revisit. And this is where things get even more interesting. The time you experience while something is happening depends heavily on your attention and your state in that moment. But when you remember the experience later, other factors come in, including the events that happened and the memories they left behind. That's why the same day can feel slow while you're living it and completely different when you remember it. And this leads to another interesting question. Why can childhood sometimes feel much longer in memory? One possible reason is that early life contains so many new experiences. As the years pass, more days become familiar and repetitive, and that can change how time feels when we look back on it. If you're stuck in a boring situation you can't change, You don't have to fight the clock. Try directing your attention somewhere else. Read, draw, learn something, solve a puzzle, or talk to someone. The point isn't to control time. It's to stop monitoring it every second. So when we say, time moves slowly when I'm bored, we're not talking about the clock itself. We're talking about the experience inside our minds. When our attention is stuck on every minute, each minute becomes highly noticeable. When our attention is absorbed in something we enjoy, time can almost disappear from awareness. So, the next time you feel like time has stopped, remember that the clock probably hasn't done anything strange. You may simply have become aware of every second passing. And the interesting part is, sometimes you don't need to change time. You just need to change what you give your attention to. Time wasn't actually moving slower. You were just listening to every second pass.